Baruch Hashem, we are holding after Purim. You know, we are taking the oiris of Purim now, Megillah Legillah, the Geula from Purim, the Geula of Pesach, and hopefully all the Mishloach Monos was already separated and set apart and did whatever you need to do. And you can start cleaning for Pesach. So let's go over a little bit what you need to do, what you don't need to do, what you do more, what we should be more careful, because we have to understand one thing. Cleaning for Pesach is not a spring cleaning, like it's Mekibel in the Goy Shevel, a spring cleaning. Spring cleaning you do, right after Tisha B'Av. That's a right time to do. Somebody don't know what to do. After Tisha B'Av, you can make a good, thorough spring cleaning. When we talk about cleaning for Pesach, we want to do Rutz Hashem. We want to do what, since there is a halacha, the Torah says lo yaru lechu chumetz, that you shouldn't have any chumetz at home. So therefore, we do Rutz Hashem. So let's see what is the Rutz Hashem according to Chazal, according to the Rishonim, the Poskim, and again, avada you could always clean more if you want, but at least you should know what you have to, what you don't have to. Especially women which are overwhelmed with children, they should know exactly what entangles this whole Pesach cleaning. Now, first we have to understand that Chotshigim is mevatel all the chumetz, say kochamiru. Afepikan, that doesn't replace cleaning for Pesach, because the Torah wants you should be mevatel the chumetz as much as you can. Now, everybody knows the famous Rosh. The Rosh says, there was a whole sigi in Gemara, Machlokes Abaya, mit andere Maruam. Shi'ir, mit Zachen, in the Rosh finished, says, I'm not going to elaborate in these halachas. Why? Because Yisruel Kedoshim, Yisruel, Yiddish kinder are holy people, v'goyrerim im avarim kal chumetz, and they scrub, and they get rid of all the chumetz, hanim tzafele kol shuhu, even a kol shuhu. And even though it's stuck, it's connected to the kois labayis, even that chumas people is real cleaning. So therefore, I don't want to go into the whole halachas because I know exactly what the Yiddish neshomas, Yiddish kinderlach, Yiddish nushim tzidkunias, they clean in any case. So there's a lot of people who take this shrosh, which says Yisru Kedoshim, they take it to a stretch. Therefore, you have to clean the ceiling in the bedrooms, and you have to clean the fixtures in the bedrooms, and the walls. That's not Yisru Kedoshim. When the Rosh says Yisru Kedoshim, that they clean chumetz, even the nidba kois labayis, there is a geder what he means. It doesn't mean that Yisru Kedoshim, that you do what in the Lusha Tzkuni does, they put it with ladders and a top of closets. All these things does not necessarily go in Yisru Kedoshim. So therefore I want to go over the Nekidus, what is in the Geder for Yisru Kedoshim, what is the Chiyuv, and what is a nice thing if you want to do, if you have time, you have the Gedilt, and it's not of the Cheshbon on your child and on your husband, because as the famous Wort was the Welt sucht, that the women should know that the children are not Chumetz, and the husband is not a Korban Pesach. So again, we have to know exactly what we need to do, clarity. And again, if your wife wants to clean more, that's fine. But at least you should know what you need to do and what not. Now, Akdoma first. Chazal did not tell us we don't need to have to clean pirurim. Crumbs, we don't need to clean. Be'etzim. Mitzad halucha. Novus then, Akapunim wollte ich kein Kesais. Crumbs darf man nicht, man bald sehen, wo es aber Akapunim, Beikaron, Crumbs is nicht Alucha, which you have to. But du kimt ran Yisru Kedoshim, over here comes in Yisru Kedoshim, that even brekelach, even crumbs, we are cleaning. But that means crumbs, which we see. When we see crumbs, we clean it. But nicht the pshat is, as me macht abdikis chumetz, in even abdikis chumetz, Alter Rebbe says it 4 or 5 times, Dikis chumetz is not on crumbs. What Chazal told us to do, Kazayas chumetz you have to take out. You have to clean, you have to take out, that's mevarzan, and of them is do bedikis kumbatz. Or less than a kazais also, if it's a choshev azach, which a person will pick up and eat. A pretzel, which is clean, it's not dirty, weißt du, verschmitzt. If it's clean, a Cheerios. Such a thing which a person finds it on the floor or finds it somewhere, will take it into his mouth. Such a thing, even if it's less than a kazais, then you have to clean it. Why? Because the whole chashash is, we'll ask a little bit later, since the whole chashash is, mishim Hashem yuval achloi, is only a thing which Hashem yuval achloi, that is a problem, you have to go. Now, even is Mamaylam Chazal Kazais Chumas, or a thing which is less than a Kazais, but it's a thing which people will eat. Nobody's going to go and find a piece of crumb from a piece of cake, a tiny piece, and is going to take it. He will take it in his mouth. As a chush v'shtikl, it's a nice piece, he will take it in his mouth, if it's clean. So therefore, anything which is less than a Kazais, and it's not clean, is me'ikir adin, ich will push ganz in the me'ikir adin, was Chazal am weggestellt, me'ikir adin, ham Chazal nicht geasset, it's not a problem. Because it's not, we're not over Balyuru Balimutza, because it's less than a Kazais. The Balyuru Balimutza is less than a Kazais, but after Bekech Zalam Gavold, as Shem Yuval Achla, Shem Yuval Achla is only a thing which is decided that the person will bow down and take it, pick it up and eat it. Or not necessarily from the floor. If he'll take it from a cabinet, wherever he's going to take it, he might take a Cheerios and eat, a pretzel and eat. That's even less than a Kazais, make menochet. But, and now comes the but. We have to make a big cheshbon, distinguish, because things, places, items which come in contact with your mouth, which come in contact with food, over there you have to be very careful even for peririm. Why? Because although we have no problem of we have no problem of Baliru Baliyimutza, because again, as we said, the Baliru Baliyimutza means a gzais chumetz, but essen, to eat something, eating chumetz is even a mashi chumetz. Mashi chumetz is usa tzessen. So therefore, anything which will come in contact with food, direct or indirect, there you have to give extra emphasis to clean, even take a kleine pitzi stiklach. But whenever it's not a thing which comes in contact with food, as we're going to go, Madrech and the Nikidus, anything which does not get in contact with food, then in such a case, is manish b'chiev. Now, if you find something, you find a crumb, but you don't have to look for it because it doesn't. It's a far fetch. It doesn't come in contact with isn't what? Even.
Where to place the food in the kitchen, wherever it is, it won't be in this battle, the crumb.
Es wird nicht battle. Mit battle wird es battle als der Isse von Balir Balimutza. But if it's a place which you come in contact with food, so nicht ganz einfach, es wird nicht battle. Oh, es ist Bechila. Mashi ist Bechila.
Even before Pesach?
No, in Pesach.
I understand, in Pesach, that's if you have the hummus on Pesach, right?
If you have the hummus, I'm talking now, we call cleaning. That if you're not going to clean a place which comes in contact with food, let's say we'll see a refrigerator, or we're going to see some places, and you have one tiny piece of a brekel of a piece of bread, yeah, which indirect is going to come in contact with you. You're going to eat it, or you're going to eat the rice. So therefore, dort na sach was geht unkimmen that indirect you're going to come in contact with chometz. This is a thing which you have to clean thoroughly. But a thing which is not a direct come in contact with chometz, so therefore, if you have a gezayis chometz, then you have to clean it. If it's not a gezayis and it's clean, Shem Yuvalach, not the problem. But the crumb, if you don't see it, just going cleaning of crumbs, is nishdukam mitzad halucha. So,
if you have a toddler at home, will eat crumbs?
The what?
If you have a toddler at home, will eat crumbs?
No. Of what? If you have a toddler?
If you have a kid at home,
Ja, en achnama. If you have achnama. Once you have a toddler at home, willst is the kind to essen mashi chumas emes. But that's a toddler which eats crumbs. That will be a small kid. Yeah. So that doesn't mean that a closet in the bedroom, yeah, which the toddler doesn't come to there, that you have to clean it. Machen paisa.
It's not that toddler in your house. Now, these are crumbs being. You know,
So you're afraid that the toddler will come and eat the Pesach. So therefore, a place, into the bed, that's different, but it's the only place we can come. A toddler which eats crumbs, is a small kid. So therefore, on top of a cabinet, etc., or the other place, we'll get to that, darf man nicht machen. So therefore, all these things, taking a ladder and wiping the walls, so first of all, we have to understand like this. In Chassidic Chabad have, first of all, a big plus. Makes it a lot easier. Because by us and another poor other Chassidim, Rapshi's sons, but we sell Chumas Gomer. Now, most of Chassidische Welt do not sell Chumas Gomer. So therefore, they have to make much deeper clean than we do. But since we sell Chumas Gomer, as we see the Tzemach Tzedek, the Shteit and the Shaima Oizen, that they used to sell a bulka for the Tzemach Tzedek, you should have what to eat, Motzi Pesach, and then you're looking on the Shitra Mechiras Chumas from the Rabbi, from the Rebbe Rashab, Zeit McClure, they used to sell Chumas. So first of all, it makes it a lot easier. So therefore, a person leaves his house, sells the whole house for a goy. For us, it's not a problem. You can sell everything. You can sell. So, first of all, any place which you are going to lock up and you're going to close it up, because even if you sell it for a goy, it has to be locked up. If you write on it, Mucher Lagoy, sold to a goy, that's also considered, if you tape it, and you write on the tape, it's sold for a goy, that's also as if it's called lacquer up. So you have to understand anything, any cabinet, any closet, which you will sell for the goy, basically you don't have to do anything. Just put it in the closet, lock it up, Mucher Lagoy, case closed. So that makes it very easy, b'yachasit, for a lot of things. Because you sell it. So therefore, anything which you want to sell, don't do. Waste of energy. Losses, and even if you know it has chumas, lock it up, it's alles fine. But again, you have to make sure, or you lock it up, or you write with tape, you lock it up with tape, and you sell it for chumas. Now, a person which has basically a Pesach kitchen, which is not going to use his stove, and is not going to use basically the whole kitchen, if he could lock it up, basically he doesn't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. Mixers. In when I was a child, my parents didn't sell chumas gomer. The mixer was a half a day work. Even though you sell it, everybody sells mixers. The klei chumas, everybody sells it. But after you almost dismantled it. For us, first of all, anything which is going to be sold, put it in a closet, lock it up, case closed. You don't need it. The same thing will also go with an oven. If you have a separate oven for Pesach, you have a separate stove for Pesach. Some people will have an extra, they put on top of it, even if they don't have a Pesach kitchen, they have a separate stove for that, which or electric, whatever it is, whatever, extra stove, and you don't use the oven. So again, case closed. Lock it up, close it, muchal going, gang about. They don't have to make it. Same will also be when it comes to clothing. All the clothing, because the clothing is on a platz, which we're going to see, you have to make a thorough kinder clothing. Because children put in chumas in their pocket. You're always going to find over there pretzels and all kind of things. Children, that's the nature of a child. So therefore, to make all the pockets is a chiyuv if you're going to use it on Pesach. And not only that, according to halacha, you have to make it during the day, and you should go outside, because once there's a mukim shemachlis b'chumas, you have to make b'dikas chumas. And b'dikas chumas has to be l'oraner. Now, oraner, you're not going to go through all the pockets, so therefore, is the isa for people who make the pockets, kedai to make it on a porch, backyard, and then heises achsadra. The look is achsadra, einzurich b'dika, you can do b'dika l'oraner, you don't need oraner, it's enough. Achsadra, you can do it l'ora shemesh. So you do it during the day, and you make it in the porch. That should be, but any begodam which you're not going to use on Pesach, just take it, lock up that closet. So again, 3/4 of your wardrobe is going to be locked up. and you don't have to make it. Vergiss, ich will also was ben du as in sommer gewaltige Mal bei us that we sell chumas guma in such a case, which the people who don't sell chumas guma don't have this lenient. They have to make all the begodim, everything. They don't sell chumas guma.
Begodim after lunch for kids. I mean, it's battle.
Okay. Wegen der Seif. This Hashal in the Ketember Achorenim of the Sachen. It is taka so, it's nicht ganz so. There are the what? Dus. It's only if you might have a humatash without a plastic, and if he has a rice humatash with a plastic, or he has other food which doesn't get. This is schon eine Sache, was we can dance on. But in such a case, when at least there's no such thing by me putting in a chumatash. There's no such thing food. But again, not in my clothing. I'm talking about my clothing. but in the children's clothing, I also went through and put in my hand in the pocket, the coats, and I found a bag with pretzels. I don't want to say, but a bag with some pretzels. Kijk dus over die schommels heb ik verveeld een tash and picked the in a tash. I had to find it, So again, when it comes to children's, if you make it outside. Als die ooit gaan ook de dikke schommels. But if you don't do it, just put it in a closet, which you lock up. Muchelagoy, case closed. The same will go also to toys. If you know what toys you have, and toys are things which you need to do. Because children are eating when they're playing Legos, all these things. You have to make really clean it well, and therefore any toys which you don't use on Pesach, lock up, finished. And talk about me in Stiebe B'Changefil when I was 30 years ago. I bought a set of toys, which that's Pesach toys. It's written on it, Pesach toys, and everybody knows these toys are Pesach toys. If you see it in the middle of the year, you know that something's wrong. You got to look if the Pesach cloud is open, because that's toys. Battleship. Well, we didn't have the all in year. Only Pesach. That was one of the freebies for the children. Al Kapunim, all these things lock up in Gangavater. Zmiras Sedirim, which you use all year round, you have to lock up. There's no way in the world that you can make it. It's ticked full with chumatz. It's a big problem. You cannot go through all the pages, because a sefer which you eat by when you learn it's not some people just open a few times, you knock it, there's alles is gunish. It's nonsense. As gunish aufgetin. If there's crumbs over there, then it is a problem. And since we're going to see Kimtzis Furam is very, very, it's common concept with food, with eating, because if you want to mish the blattel, or whatever it should be, a siddur, or even a sefer, so therefore, take Sforim which you use for Pesach, and all other Sforim which you don't use, if you are not makbid all year round. Just cover it up, and sell it for the goy. Sell it for the goy.
What if you're not putting it next to food?
If all year round you don't put it next...
No, all year round you do put it next to food, but on Pesach you're not going to bring it to the table.
You're not going to bring it to the table. And the chlama, it's easier, but the problem is going to be, what is if you're going to miss a page, and there's a kram of chumos, and you put it to the mouth? Not the problem.
Let's use these smart right here.
Okay. I can tell you one thing. Ich bin schon nach der Yisi, we got muzikanti a little bit, not that old. And Baruch Hashem, I had a shul for the last 30 years with a lot of sforim, libraries, and I used to tell for the people, listen, this forum is not made. And although we were makbid and heichel, the people should not eat when there's books, you can be certain. And I said for the people of the boys' side, do not use this forum on Pesach. Zim take buy in the tres day should do Baruch Hashem. If you Chassidisches forum or all these things, you could buy. But you need malmachas. I would say I can say one thing. None of these sadirim should be used on Pesach. None of these. I don't remember from last year. Is there Pesach Sedirim over here? No, but in Hechel we had Pesach Sedirim. We locked up all the Sedirim. We took out all the Pesach Sedirim. If you don't Pesach Sedirim, I would advise all of you, bring a Pesach Seder from your house, keep it over here, just 8 days. Because over here there is one Seder, which is a Machzer or Seder for Pesach. There is one in the later section. And my wife always tells me, I see by the Verbrengens every Shabbos over there on the table. I don't know why it's always on the table. But that Pesach seed is always on the table, and the use it on Pesach. So therefore, I advise all of you, if there isn't Pesach seed, or somebody should be manadav, 25, 30 Pesach Sidurim. If not, should bring one from your home, keep it by yourself. I wouldn't trust such a thing because you're talking about Mashi Chumatz, and usually say that you took it to your mouth.
Someone doesn't do that. Someone doesn't.
What if you never let the pig?
Okay. But it's nicht, the fall raus from Tisch. What is it falls on the table? And you see the Sach was skimmed. What is the issue?
Who's the Christ in public spot?
The Kinesura. Who's a Kreis in the shul? Who makes big? Somebody makes big schumas in this room. Has to be Saluch Shechruch. Aber es Mensch darf sagen big schumas mit der Bruche. No, it's not a kappa issue. Why?
You're the rub of the shul.
Since when is the Robin? Is does have to make big schumas in the shul? Who's there's a gabba in the shul.
Who's the gabbai?
Who gives the aliyahs? No. Has to be there's the guy who washes the tablecloths and puts it on.
Someone pays the bills.
There's somebody in charge.
Meaning that, yeah.
The guy who's in charge is on the Kreis. The guy's in charge. I don't know who it is. You figure it out. Who it is?
These should be locked. Like, totally
The what? I don't see a way. But order you can in today's day all the shuls, all the Chassidische shuls. Ich weiß, it's Gelekud. Ich kann sagen, it's in Monsi. Ich kann sagen, it's in Pubos, which is a big shul, thousands of people down there, hundreds of people. I want to say thousands. Pesach not necessarily, and they bring out Pesach Sedirim, special Pesach Sedirim. So I can put them. Aber B'chaloifen says you're talking about things in Mashiach Chumatz, and you have to be very careful. But in any case, in your house for sure, take all the Sedirim and all the Zemiras and sell it for a goy. Have Pesach Zemiras. I always have to say there's a problem. All the Zemiras which we have, the new one comes from a chasanas, which is on the table together with the bilkelach. This is an extra. Okay, but usually not necessarily people touched it. Nicht zu nutzen das Forum. Aber ich mag mit der ganzen Jahr that not to eat in vicinity of the Forum. I mean, this yeah. Because I know I have a lot of Forum. I cannot make it. I want to use it on Pesach. So therefore,
how about with the NB?
I'm very much. There's no such a thing as a sefer come next to some food. No such thing.
Never happened.
But to what extent? Is it like
No.
It's like food that makes crumbs. Like you can have an apple in there, say for a
Ekel is not chumatz. Yeah, but ich habe mich angewöhnt, you don't eat next to Sfurim. And I'm talking about
But I
Mezoides.
always sit on the couch with sparm and coffee, but I have a cake with me, and my wife would throw me out the couch.
Okay, so you have a good wife. Fine. This is exactly. She saved you a job not to make this
I'm
Forum.
saying not to have.
I mean, not chumatz. I'm talking about chumatz. If you want to eat an apple or this Forum, eat even a coffee. Even a coffee.
If you sure.
Ich will do even mashke. Strikt ins Haus ist gut nicht. Ich meine dich crumbs. And don't think, you should know one thing. Practic, you find chumatz in them. I say it over, so maybe I said it even last year also. I gave once a shiur in Heich Menachem, and there was a whole discussion things for him. Yeah, aber it happens to be, ich betreffe ich kann das Kerzen kann man reden, weil Yuru, weil muss auch no, nein, weil Yuru wants your own, because nobody has a kazais chumatz in a cake. Aber a kapunem, you can eat. Mashi chumatz is using in a toilet, So after Pesach comes over to me a young man and tells me, I have a grandfather. He came down to us only because his grandfather was in the 90s, and we are the shul, one of the only shuls which, since it was a legal shul, the first legal shuls in whole Monsey. So we had it's like a ramp. There was no steps. So his grandfather, he picked our shul for to daven over there because his grandfather happens to be he's the guy now which runs the whole Heich Menachem, the children, alles Lubavitch. All came only because we had a ramp. Mama Ramizger. Al Kaponam, so he comes over to me and tells me, you think that there's no such thing as a Kzais comes in a sefer? I'm going to tell you a story which happened to me this year. My grandfather, there is a Polish guy with a spodik. My grandfather took a piece of cake once, and he was learning that, and he closed the Gemara with the cake on it and put it in the closet. And I opened up the say, "It's a Polish, behalten a Stückchen cake." If you don't know, the English with the Polish were always the Polish were always karge, and the English whatever. A kapona, also getroffen a piece of sponge cake, you know. That's built of the loy shchicha. I'm not talking about this. But crumbs is a problem. When you come to eat it, then you have a problem. Another thing we have to realize, any place which you don't put in chumutz, there's no chiv to clean, no chiv to void, no chiv nothing. An attic, if a person has an attic, which there's no thing, people do not eat there. They storage over there stuff. People have a boiler room. Usually in a boiler room there's no chumutz. All these things which is not normal you should have is mitzad aluchashtayt kol gusham mechlis mechumutz. That means it doesn't need medika, but it's not choish there's chumutz, you don't have to clean it. So again, I'm just giving the klolam that a lot of things you could just make a big X and you save a lot of jobs because we are not making Pesach. The women are making it, We can be.
My farm in my house, we eat with food all the time.
Where you what?
At my house, we eat
Svarim.
and food all together.
Yeah.
So let's say look what they say of us. We just won't use them for Pesach, but we don't have to clean them before. They can stay on the shelves like that.
They can sit on the shelves.
Them up or anything. We're just leaving them there.
Yeah, but it's machen you shouldn't use it. It's machen shouldn't use it.
And benches.
Du achroinam, by the way, which hold that svarim which you use when you ate, if you don't go through every page cleaning, is by Medina mechiv to verkaufen for a goy. Medina.
So why the Durham and the benches we put away?
Medina.
Medina what?
To sell it for a goy.
Oh, crumbs are never a problem.
Nein, aber als mit der Geschash von
Do we hold like that? Is that?
the Litvische, yeah, because it's a chazanish. But I don't see the Chassidish world they're not going for it. But I'm just bringing you. Ich bring es nur den Kindern to show, as it's not a joke. I'm stressing it because I know most of the people are not careful to use this forum when they're eating. But at least if you at least minimum, do not bring svarim during Pesach on the table. And whatever you use the sefer, after you finish using it, before you're going to eat, wash your hands. That's the minimum you should do.
So Durham benches you sell.
You should sell. In any case, there's no way.
That maybe it might be. Those you don't have to sell.
Don't have to sell. And now, if you're not makbid and taka, you have svarim which we eat there. Don't use the whole Pesach. If you have svarim which you don't need, Pesach, so therefore, at least, don't use it when you're on the table. Anything which has to do with the table, and wash your hands before you're going to eat. This is and don't lick the papers if you lick the papers.
You could learn from such a sefer on Pesach.
Yeah, ich habe the weiß as cipher was is basically the art forum. Everybody knows his forum. Shivas Rashba, you didn't learn by the Shabbos table. Let's make it clear. Yeah, like the sichas might be. So I always say, take the volumes which you want. That cipher, go through it, clean it up once and for all, check it through. Today is good. It's okay.
Every single page.
What?
Check every page. Well, if we're not allowed to make a sefer, what is up this?
And you eat all year round with chometz? Yeah, you should. What? Dan ga je de bladeren. Ja. Nogmaals. Es valt er ons een chometz on the table, and what happens then? No. When I was a child, we used to open. I don't know wie gaat het nemen, but that was the easy way out. You just like this, yeah, and wash the extra. It's a joke. That's that's good. My mother should feel good. But the what?
How you have to do it?
No, a place which you eat with hummus, you have to go through every page. Wipe it. Wash you wipe it through. You have to take it. No, smart, guys. It's fine. Try once. Weiß, dass nicht kann hummus. The name of it's nicht possible. So the name of is gedait other Pesach things for him. Or at least noch was watch, Pesach. You shouldn't touch it. Nochmal, es ist eine schwere Sache. Aber dort hat sich sehr große Problems. And the rest of Mashi Chumetz. Again, Mashi Chumetz is User. User man teure. Right? Okay. Another thing which I want to make clear. Gaat nog maar daar, was man darf nicht tun. What you're not is under refrigerators, under stoves, you don't need to schlep out and clean underneath. You don't, even if you know that during the year fell in something, you don't need to schlep it out. It is as if you're not for all of mapoilas. If you are not planning to schlep it out during the Pesach, which usually you don't plan. So therefore, you have a refrigerator, you have a freezer, you have a stove, a washer and dryer, which is this. You don't need to schlep it out. If you do schlep it out, and not all the ladies will listen to, in Zindige Shulchan Aruch, so they're not gonna, So therefore, in such a case, make sure to be boidik chumetz then, because if not, you're gonna have to schlep it out again. So if you do such a thing, you schlep it out because your wife tells you have to take a licht and at night, because bedikas chumetz could be even before bedikas chumetz. At night you have to have a candle. There's no such thing other than a light. No, you have to have a candle. No, flashlight then is good. Flashlight is good. Hast kein Breires, aber if hast kein, also you alter, we just if you are schlepping it out to clean, is es schon geworden am Mucke, was ist rausgeschleppt mit dem Schloss Yom, therefore das ist machen mit dickes Chumetz. Müsst ihr machen mit dickes Chumetz. Don't touch it. You don't need it. You don't need to schlep it out.
What if I do something to brush out under there? I don't know if there's something.
Do brush out as much as you can from underneath. This you should do as much as you can. Other than that, was das der Moire? Okay. Ich kenne schon Kimmets. So therefore, don't make yourself extra headaches. The same will also be parquet. You have parquet. Cracks in parquet, yeah. So there are women who lie on the floor with a toothpick, yeah, and kratzer all these Sachen. You can't just rausnehmen. You can't show it. Kabid darf on the floor, but you can't just rausnehmen. You cannot take it out. So what's the point from having a toothpick? Huh? You don't need to. You're not going to do it Pesach. You find you're going to take a crumb, you want to eat it. So therefore, any place, even if you see it, even if you see the place, if you cannot reach it, that again.
If you reach it,
Well, no, auch nicht. Keine geht nicht sicher kommen mit der Toothpick in Pesach. Nein, actually, my ass was busy with the gas. Noch einmal. No, actually, the gas mind wiffle the cast cleaner is the cleaner. You actually maybe I'll take the chairs. The chairs, the back and the front. You have a screw. You take off the bottom. Why don't you need to do it? You actually do my gas. That's not you do my gas. You do my gas. The concept. No, the concept. The concept of my gas means I have problems. You're gonna forget. You're gonna see chumatz. In my mind, the best to essen. If it's not, I do my gas. So what am I afraid? To come Pesach, I'm gonna take a screwdriver, dismantle the chair, and then forget maybe. Come on, Now again, if you want to do crazy things, it's not a problem. It's okay. With me, fine. I don't know with your wife, but
what if you have like chametz that's like super glued to the floor and so out in the open?
So no, you cannot. And
that's the same idea.
No, it's like them zugige. It's such a case. So if you as I fall, that's the spoken because I'm afraid if it's going to be in the dining room, it falls on food in Pesach. That's the spoken and even in other ways, there are some ladies who go crazy when I had 1 year they have upholstery chairs. We have upholstery, so it has a hole. Why is the kind they have holes? So in the post there's crumbs. What do you want to do? I have to take off. I have to with a razor blade. No, you don't have to. My kid is not known.
But if it's plastic?
Auch it's plastic. You can see it. Ich habe gesehen. Ich habe nicht geprobt. Ich parieren. Ich habe nicht gesagt. Ich habe parieren. So bei Meila, so als Sachmusik für den Usham, take a little bit of bleach, or we can, nicht I can stuff, but sometimes you have places which you see it, you cannot reach it. If you want to feel good, spray it a little bit easy off or a little bit bleach, and that's the spray can get off. But the kids had woorden means auf Sachen wie what? Der Ksai ist schon etwas anderes. Ja, aber dort wie es ist nur von Polen, sagt man das auch nicht. Anderer Stoff, da darf man nicht auf viele Ksai sagen, ich habe nur Polen, da viele weiß du ein ganz nice big sauer durch alle. Noch einmal, weil es ist so every time it steams, you have a steam, you clean as much as you can, wherever you cannot do anymore, you don't have to dismantle the steam. You don't have to dismantle Sachen,
I want you to do it because more common because now you definitely need to be ready.
Wie dorten?
Any of these things which said you can't reach. Let's say I am going to move the fridge.
No.
Yeah. Now I take him a
Beginnen wir mit Dukim. Nein, dort wird die Käse schon kommen, darfst du nicht beugen sein, aber der schleppst du raus auf eine Sache, du sollst beginnen mit Dukim.
This is only if you're schlepping it out to clean it.
If you schlepp it out to clean it. If it stays here all year round, like...
I'm schlepping out my oven because I'm switching it from my Pesach oven. And while I schlep it out, there's mess over there, I clean it up. I'm not schlepping it out.
Da muss das machen, aber dickes Chumitz fahren. Da muss das machen, dickes Chumitz fahren. Nein, darfst du nicht kicken. Darf kicken. Das ist nicht nur gut, ja, exactly. Wegen darfst du mal Oranär. Nur noch sagen, wegen gestellt, dass dickes Chumitz da soll Oranär oder Olachsadre.
So I'm thinking the candle, I'm checking the ceiling better than that.
What?
I'm not checking the ceiling better than that.
You don't have to check the ceiling to begin with.
I don't check the floor better than that.
What?
I'll check the floor better than that.
Vor darf man nicht checken, oder ne? Das ist offen, front of dir. Das meinst du?
Also what do you do when you move that on the fridge?
Ja, aber hast Choyre Mizdukim. Hast Choyre Mizdukim dort. Jawohl. Ja, hast einfach rausgeschleppt. Hast du schon Access dort? Hast du schon beide gesagt?
When you schlep it out, why is it still up the regular floor?
What?
When you schlep it out, why is it still up the regular floor?
Because you have all kind of cracks in the sides. You have, es steht nicht freestanding. A refrigerator hat sich counters mit Sachen in der Seite in der Back. Es ist so.
You have to check the cleaning stuff.
Choyre Mizdukim. Yeah.
Under a bed. That's like under the back spring.
Under a bed, Achman Boyd exam. Frat if you have children. In a master bedroom, people don't have.
Why isn't that enough for
Why? Sie nicht mal von einem Polis. Man kann mit Bikes dich rup, kannst es treffen. Kannst du umkommen, was? Inter a bed kannst du schon umkommen?
Not in the high bed. You're talking about come out on the floor.
Nochmal, ich kannst du raus schleppst du mal raus? Och, das ist auch, ad mucke schießt immer Gas. Beitsam, if you don't schlepp it out, if you have a bed, I don't know, I never saw a bed which should be on the floor, but okay. If it's almost on the floor, you go ad mucke schießt immer Gas. You know, if you don't push it away. That's the same thing as a refrigerator, was it? Yeah. You don't have to move. Do you have to move your you have a china closet? You have to move the china closet? You have to move the china closet? For Pesach? Any one of you moves the closet?
Shadows, if you clean, like, you'll move your bed to get behind the bed.
Them sogar a bed you have to in bed darf man machen bis kommt because so wie samukam was is practical. Fällt er auf Sachen. Noch dann ob es a best bedroom. There's no einmal to begin with. But if it's a children's bedroom, yeah. Children's bedroom, you have to look under the bed. Avada, bis begin. Mukke beschaimen gies begonnen, wat no?
So that's I never go home there, but I bought the house from a guy and it could be there was homes there. I never go home. Because there's homes there. Checks the
Okay, we are going into a whole different Sache, was we can verbringen of them. If you're going into the concept was the kids. So groß machlich sachroine. If you're renting out a hotel room or an Airbnb halamoid, do you have to make the so much anat? Du gehst dann eine ganze Schale, weil es ist ein goische Haus, so es ist ein goische Chumitz, es ist nicht ein Chumitz. Schemi Vrochle, was ein goische Pass, man geht daran eine Sache, oder Aluches, was ist, so man fragt sich, temporary achroinem, if you have to make the Chumitz, you're going in a hotel. Some will say that you have to make the Chumitz. Others will say you don't have to have Chumitz. My brother in his Sefer Shilas Chaim has a whole arichas on this noise also. As I say, on Hilchas Pesach over there, a ganze arichas of the kidda. So this is a different and separate zach. You could the hose, he didn't buy. Okay. Yeah, but if you know that it was, if you buy a house and there's a room that the guy used for Chumitz, you know, this is the shal. It's a sicher du Chumitz, mein mistaber. You know, they don't give you a clean house, you know. Aber noch das ist schon extra Essen und Kinder. Ist das eine geile Masse? Huh? Okay.
Is the same true for a car? You're gonna mean
car has to be cleaned thoroughly. Man bald umkommt zu Sachen, was man darf. Lass mal ein bisschen warten gehen. Car, what? I do the candle, but sometimes it's not practical because you're afraid to machst with the candle macht ärger, so you use a Shlomo Zalman hat a ganze Riechs of the noise. He wants to say you should have a candle, but then you should go with a flashlight. Weil der Kuhn ist gekommen, huh?
The whole candle is a complicated thing.
Yeah, aber Chazal haben sie gesagt, you learn Hilchos B'dikas Chumetz, for the Alter Rebbe, sei Chumetz. Aber nicht gewiss kein Candle. The Alter Rebbe, we just finished it, Hilchos B'dikas Chumetz. Yeah, I know that. You know, it's much easier with a flashlight. So, it's bei mir, in dem Suche, der Shlomo Zalman schreibt, muss gehen mit der Flashlight auch hat. Man kann sagen, die Chazal, aber nur so man gehen mit der Flashlight. In der Kar befragt.
So you're saying like 2 minutes and then you can switch?
Yeah, again, well, yeah. It's a skilly. Nice, the interesting is Alter Rebbe sehr Chummer auf der Rest. Man kann suchen, aber es ist schwer zu sagen, Flashlight. Nochmal, das ist auch der Heilig, finde ich. Es ist einfach Name, wie Karan, was der Flashlight, was man gekannt. Aber ich habe einen ungenehmeren Shlomo Zalman, ich gehe mit der Flashlight, mit der Adus, man hält es ein bisschen Water. No, not a flashlight. But you have to, a car is a thing which you have to make thoroughly, because every year after I pay $100 for each car, because they are usually basically making clean. And they're not making Pesach dik. And although the last before I came here, the last 2 years I found him Sayyid, which Baruch Hashem used to come every year to me. I used to give him matzahs, and I eat. I like them tefillin, that you give us the Shia'ur. If they come and nemen an matzahs and nemen an tefillin, so heilig him of tzum ochet. And he said, yeah, I know, it's not only clear, you have to make it for chometz. And every year I'm noch getroffen noch eine Sache. You know, weißt du. So a car is in car is a thing. You know, once you open the engine, or you take out the children take out right away the nash, whatever.
And the iron has to all be moved.
The what?
This all through the Bedika. You can start.
No, you have like Bedika. I do my houses 2-3 days before already. I have a big house, but at night, Banach una brucha. You start one floor, and then the next night the other floor. And you have to leave it. Alter Rebbe you could do it. You should leave one room for Albikis Chumas, Makams, and the Tkunas Chazal, and then you make a bruch. And it's a very practical thing to do.
The only bruch
only bruch machen wir only Laili Dalet.
The car is different because you can't sell.
You could sell the car if you sell the car from a chai.
What if you're going to use it? I mean, the sale.
You have to clean it.
Because the sale doesn't cover it properly.
No, because Shem Yuvalachla. You know, you might find out a pretzel and you can eat it.
And the crepe is the same thing. It's a place where you can't reach it. It's deep down between the seats.
Yeah, but that's not that problem. People eat in a car, and children in a car seat. Children, you know, it's.
Do you need to get the seats and take out the car seats?
No, you don't have to take the car seats. Yeah, but not the seats. You know, you don't have to dismantle a car seat. You know, the seats of the car. No, but you have to look under the seat. Yeah, that's car is as long as we have git boarding son. Have git boarding son. Yeah.
I need to Bedika.
No, nothing. No. Korek tzemach tzedek. No. If you sell your whole house, you don't make b'dikah so much. You have to do it. So I'm sorry if you won't say, yeah, but tzemach tzedek halts. No, you don't need. There's no point that tzemach tzedek tanas. How could you make b'dikah chumetz? What's the meaning of b'dikah chumetz? You should find chumetz. You should find a paisach. You're selling it.
So someone who's selling his house, he doesn't have Bedika chumetz.
Nein, it's wegen dem Zug nach Roinam, bis mevat la mitzvah. Therefore, wherever you go, rent up the room, eat over the chumetz for them. Das ist schon ein b'dikah chumetz digdin. Aber nein, man darf nicht b'dikah chumetz. No. So any room which you sell, don't make no b'dikah chumetz. So let's go further. Wus darf man nicht is again the walls in the bedrooms is azoi. In down bedroom, in a master bedroom which there's no chumetz, you don't have to make the walls at all. Children's bedrooms with children, people have small children. Ad mukom shei ayingel magas, as most, but you don't have to make where a child cannot get to it. Maybe he crept on top of of the armoire in what is the dach, and what is the chandelier, whatever the fixture. All these things is afilnish srul kedoshim. Srul kedoshim is in a bedroom. Ad mukom shei yude magas. Wie das ist srul kedoshim. Und auf dem Madrosh gesucht. As Srul Kedoshim v'gorerim as Ksulim. Ksulim is a shaykh as a brekle chumetz. Now, although of course it cannot be a k'zayis chumetz, so the Rosh, Srul Kedoshim, you can touch, do it with the choymer, touch the wand, stick a tiny crumb, taking them out, of them came the Srul Kedoshim. So mit Zad Aluch, what man is gedacht. Srul Kedoshim. But anyway, I use them a gas, there's no point. No point. Making the chandelier in your dining room, it's a very nice thing to do Lekuvot Shabbos, but do it Lekuvot Sikkos. Why you need to do Lekuvot Pesach? Do it Lekuvot Shvius. Yeah. I can fallen off this, yeah. Yeah, so the kinder I'm geworfen off the chandelier. Yeah, if you have children who throw bilkis on the light, you sure have to make it. Yeah.
I'm bringing the curious at making the name of the kids
Of a kid. No, the kids. Well, same also, all the silverware, what you don't need on Pesach, you don't have to shine. You know, I'm busy to make all the silverware. You don't have to do it. It's shine. Again, what? Yeah, if you use it on Pesach, yeah. There are some people, by the way, the minig is through, but a lot of people that they put on the table all the silverware which you have on the outside. Ja, beim Rebstein, der Rebbe nicht zu viel. Aber today's day, ich meine, in my time, today's day auch wieder, hab ich schon wieder nicht silverware, because nobody gives drusche geschenk, but when I got married, you know, hat man a Sach silverware, which you don't know what to do, you know, was nur die Kinder haben sich geschlagen noch hinten 20, you know, weißt du, you know, you have to wash it, you have to clean it, you have to do this, it's only a pain in, you know. But geläufen, is er sein, da innen, wusste man keine Rotleike für Tische, da innen drauf zu legen, so damals hast du das müssen machen, weißt du, das ist schon etwas anderes, you know, es ist, okay, das ist Sache, was man nicht gedacht. Lass mal gehen, was man darf, ja. Anything which come in contact with food, kemiven, if you don't have a Pesach koch, which is the whole kitchen has to be thoroughly cleaned. That means the ovens, the stove, the oven kashet, kemiven, aber gaat push it clean auch. And the refrigerator has to be very good clean. Again, you don't have to dismantle the refrigerator. For the cracks, which is a rank dort, man hat doch aber, whatever you could, wie sie können umkommen, or touchen a pot, all those things has to be very thoroughly. Why? Because you come in contact with Essen. Anything, as I mentioned before, anything which come in contact with Essen, even indirect, darf man machen. So therefore the kitchen has to be thoroughly made, a stove, a refrigerator, a freezer, all these things has to be very much. Tables, a kitchen table, a kitchen chairs, all these things has to be very, very good cleaned, because dort can stand ungeklebt. We should eat all year round of this. Even, I'll tell you even more, a dining room table is I learned it the hard way, that usually a dining room table, you always, the dining room table, you don't have to kasher. Even if you use it all year round for chumatz, you don't have to kasher, because you always, you use it only with the tablecloth. So therefore, Pesach darf man es noch zidecken, but you have to make sure, if you have children, under the table you have to check and clean. Because the Didi have ifda, in mitten Pesach, one of my einiglich, took out a piece of chometz from it's a table which you could make so there's tracks for the leaves to put in the leaves, so there's tracks. He took out from the track a piece of chometz. So ich habe ihn gefragt, what happened? So was ist schon heu? Fragt man ich denke, ist behalten einmal. Ist behalten? Ja. Ich habe keinem nicht ich habe gekickt hinter den Tisch, aber die Chumatz. But mir ist eingefallen, ich darf kicken zwischen den Tracks, dort kick Chumatz. And I never did it. Oh, noch einmal habe ich schon ausgelernt. Such a thing wie, hat mir gesagt, ich habe es dort behalten, you know, when he was last time he was by me. So again, es ist a duvel Schlich, aber ich weiß nicht, duvel Schlich. Mit Kindern, you can, such a thing, you have to make clear. And again, dining room, dinette has to be thoroughly cleaned.
Also by the church.
Toys. The chairs.
The...
You don't have to dismantle all this.
I have to say, but I'm saying just like the table, the betoich.
Betoich what?
No, like.
Betoich what? Where?
Where is that?
Take this chair. What do you need to do?
No, here, like.
No, okay.
I'm not.
Ja, aber du schaust, du nicht, du bist allein gekommen. Dort ist du jetzt allein. Tracks. You know. If you have a table where there's no tracks, ist wieder nicht du. Efter ungeklebt abbrechen, you know. Toys is also a thing which you have to make sure very, very good make. If you have Lego, all these things has to be very thoroughly cleaned. If you use it on Pesach. Because children take toys into their mouth, it's a normal thing. Legos, bricks, all these kind of things, and you have to make it. It's easy to make because you put it in this baskets or in this sack. You know, you do for sacks, etc. You put it in the wash machine, you put it in the dishwasher, and with soap and water. But you got to do it. You got to do it. Whatever you don't want to do it, just lock it up.
I saw before someone would throw it in the bathtub and put it in the hot water.
Okay.
Throw all the toys in the bathtub
Yeah.
and drain everything
Okay.
out. Good enough.
Yeah. So I think, aber mit darf es stehen. Begudim, as I mentioned before, begudim which you are going to use, you should make sure to clean. Or again, if it's only a shash of crumbs, once you wash it with bleach, then you'll be good. But again, do that danzan,
Give a minute to dry clean your towels for free. I never did it.
You don't need to. Aluchadik, there's no reason to.
There's no reason to dry clean. I don't know.
No.
Some people like to bring it after Shabbos with the talus and the kulas.
Yeah, the people who make kulas on the table with the talas, they have to do it, yeah. I think they should have a Pesach talas, Bechlal. They should replace it. Okay, good. Okay, another thing. Bechlal darf man gedenken, so Sachen, you have to make thoroughly, Niki Yisoidi, which is again, the kitchen, the dining room, the dining. And then there's such a thing as cleaning, was a filled with medaf, but as the Rosh says, Yisru Kedoshim. What's my decision? You go through the window shields, dort mis kerzan ach shashchum, was du sagst Yisru Kedoshim. Aber das meint nicht, man darf nehmen, wenn man sagt, Raben, Kratzen, Gedäume, noch mal, man darf auch denken, sie do deep cleaning, how they call it today's day, deep cleaning, and sie do, which you have to clean, beoefen kal, beoefen nicht Yisoidi. Yisru Kedoshim guide, as a fil amuka, which is kind of far-fetched, again, as I mentioned, Koistlev, like child is not as a Yisru Kedoshim, but man wascht das up. Aber nochmals, people are overdoing it. Like Punem, this was sicher gesehen. Overdoing it in Mekim Pesach, sick, the children are sick, and there are a lot of children today's day, which they had the Pesach, or when you finish the Shlech Munas, they go into trauma. Mama's trauma. Because sie haben es gesehen bei seinen Eltern, sie gewähnen bei seinen Eltern, haben es gemeint, sehr ehrlich, Mama's, aber they didn't know what to do, when to do, so it was a big lachat, and people get sick. So man darf gedenken.
That's because the kid, when you take away the kid's candy and throw it out. So
The what?
Throughout the shop money, so you have trouble from that.
You have time for that. Okay, das ist schon extra. Das lasse ich für extra, für die Mechaniker. Ich gehe mal nach, so manchmal für die Kinder, okay. Portions, chutzer, if you ate within 30 days chumetz, then you have to make sure before Pesach that there's no chumetz. If you, what? You don't have to get that push it in, it's ice chumetz.
You go through the whole rest?
Yeah, guys don't say if you want to guess. Because people send out the children before Pesach, do the shonish essen in the heim, 3 weeks. So you eat outside. So you can make backyard. No, you have to get. That's not kicking. So give dik chumetz. That can say, so you can say chumetz. We say nicht geworden schmutzig. Oder geworden schmutzig. In der Alter besucht, dass ich kann nicht, wir bald dass ich sicher gegessen chumetz. In Gotche can seine gekommen squirrels or sie kommen Eurwim mit Stücke Reis. Der Alter ein so viel muss mit war. You for sure ate chumetz over there. Hast da gehoft zu kicken. Der Alter. Push chicken. What? You go through and see if you see a bulk. Man darf gar mit der Lechtling bei gesagt, you don't have to do that as you do it in the parquet, Push it, kicking us, it's gesagt, push it, the same. In the what? Aber the Chutze? Auf kicken the Chutze, noch mal, da sind, auf push it, it's gesagt, das ist die ganze Kinder. Nicht, again, parieren haben das schon geschmissen, das mit Zahn, mit Mikere, haben wir nicht nicht. Noch eine wichtige Sache ist wichtig, that garbage cans. Garbage cans, if you throw in the garbage cans, this year haben wir Hashem, Masaka Haram, they have a big, this year we don't need it. This year is a moidige Male, Geld, you have the sanitation department, what? Friday, but other the year, just if you throw it in the garbage can, doesn't, sit down a garbage can. Sit down a sheet, not chutza. Yes, ob sie gesagt kommen, ist es a problem. Aber wenn sie wenig gesagt kommen, ob sie clean, ist wieder a problem. Kim even ob sie dirty, hat sich kein problem. What? If you put it on the street, it's something else. That's the town's problem. You might get a ticket, but it's not yours.
Go back for the sticker. It's not covered on the street.
It's on Zürcher. As it's rausgeleiten draußen on the street, yeah. This is exactly what they do. In Monsi hat man auch, machen wir the garbage sanitation. And because weiß ich dort, the Yiddish politicians have a power. So they have to come Erev Pesach. But again, to go home Monsi does, to do Erev Pesach takes a lot of time. So sometimes they will come after Zman So you're going to see garbage bags roll out on the street. You know, people roll on the street. You didn't come on time, you're going to pay the price. So you throw it on the street, finished. But if it's in your, and also garbage closers. Sometimes, I don't know how it works, but sometimes you have garbage closers which has so a dachel. In Brooklyn, you have it more. You have a garbage closer. Over there could be a piece of chomet, and it's yorishes. And it's not gewonnen schmutzig, because again, ob sie gewonnen schmutzig, it's not ruhe achille, the geschuwe seressen. Ja, prieren. Bret gesche gezais. Gezais, ze werden, dus, da zijn ein ruhe achille skelef. But I can put in prieren, as is gewonnen schmutzig, is got dirty, is gewonnen. But sometimes you're going to have pretzels, and it's yorishes. In Mameile, as da geuft what?
The dumpster belongs to you?
No, I'm talking a garbage can.
Put on a bleach.
A what?
Put on a bleach in the garbage can.
Ja, ich rede nicht über Bishop, aber so gesagt, hast du gesagt, es kommt, was darfst du bewahren sein?
Why can't we say that inside the bag in the young man God's foot? Inside the middle of the garbage bag. Inside the garbage bag.
Why? Why not? Why is I need to do a gas?
When you lost your ring, you'll...
Why I need to do a gas?
Because it's...
You cannot open it and go in?
You saw somebody ever do that?
No?
If you lose your ring,
No?
you lose your ring.
Last week was in the news. A lady lost a diamond ring, and there's a picture of Chawairim, Shomram, Klichten, Garbage, with rust of bags, you know. Okay, that's a double shlicha, but
They're not looking for the chametz. They're looking for
if the lady lost the ring right before Pesach because she was cleaning for Pesach, she wanted to kasher it, then Chalamoy is the first thing she's going to do. Till the garbage truck comes the next time, they can rip up all the bags. There was also not long ago a story of how Alabama Shabocha with film lost its film in the garbage.
There's nothing more hefker than garbage.
Sie was?
There's nothing more hefker than garbage.
Aber sie sind da eine Schiss. Sie sind da eine Schiss. Der Teure hat gesagt, also, man kann nicht Mafke sein, da kommen. If I have a piece of cake, und ich sage, schein mich, ich bin das Mafke, Chazal haben gesagt, dass ein bisschen Hefke, aber kein ist es da. Chazal haben gesagt, dass helft ich kein Hefke. Das ist die ganze Kanzel mit dickes Chummas. Die ganze Zeit nur für die alte Rebbe. Noch nur mal Poilis, nein. Noch mal ist man meint, dass es interessant für die Käse, die müsst es zernehmen. Die müsst rausschleppen, das Refrigerator. Die müsst aufheimen, was sag. Es liegt in der Garbage Can, it's right in the front von der Nose. Die Käse, sie die Tistes oder nicht, das ist der Geil. Es ist nicht halt, nochmals, es ist da Arashit. Du hast Chummas in der Arashit. Hast du gesagt, es ist Chummas, bist du ruhig in der Arashit, bist du over auf Akbur mit Rabbunum.
Can you create a playlist?
What?
Can you create a playlist, throw a bookcase on top of the garbage bag or something?
So helps if I go from the garbage.
The bus?
You see, it's Friday.
Ja, alles mit der Garbage Can mit der Garbage. Das hilft. Ich weiß, aber ich schreibe das ran in der Gesundheit. I don't know.
Maybe throw away the good garbage. Maybe we still a thing that you kids not like. No,
in some, there's auch eine Schale. Gehst du an eine Schale, there's a Schale of Tfilas Keilim Lacha Pesach. Now, the Rebbe writes, the alte Rebbe, man verkauft, in der Chabad, man verkauft die Keilim. The problem is, ich sage ich roinem, dachte ich, man kann mit anderen sagen, ich kenne für die Keilim, because if you sell the Keilim, automatically, when you take it back after Pesach, you have to tovel the Keilim. Because he was a Rishis von Agoy. But the Rebbe schreibt, nein. Der Rebbe sagt das Fuhre, weil der Goy das Keimel nicht, der Bechiri gewinnt, Keimel nicht auf die Stammschuss. Sie gewinnt letztens in Orisruel, the last Orisruel once before. Somebody wrote that he found a Xaviat for Rasha. Was Rashi mashma with the Rebbe's Shitta. As dort in the Shala, the Shala was over there. If you have the Shala was regarding this red, what is it called? A berry cracker. The berry crackers is the berry crackers which was created by Yiddish company. The berry cracker was created by Yiddish company. So the OK gives a hechsher and you don't have to toivel it. Steig haben sie geliked if you buy it from a Yid. Was the concept? Because if they sold it to Walmart, sie ist a strike rang in a Schiss von Agoy, and therefore, sie rang auf Schiss von Agoy, die kaufst es jetzt, kaufst es von Agoy, darfst es teufel. Aber ich nicht aufgetein. Aber sie rang ist special, als es ist kusche, man darf sich einzig tfillen, if you buy it from a Yid. Ein Weißmandel hat geschrieben eine ganze Birne, und gewollt nein, aber man darf nicht. Gewollt as since the goy verkauft es sich auf zu usen, kauft es nicht zu kaufen Vater. In Meile is mikra den Dach von der Steuer. Everybody came out against this Psakdin. I'm going to geschrieben, kicken alles so. Kegen Weissmann Psakdin. But la Masse, Weissmann schreibt, als es masber mit dem, der Rebens, der Chabad Schitte, wegen Mechiras Chumetz. Ich bin nicht in ganzer Maske mit seinem Parshanut. He wants to say that since the Goy hat es in der Willis Vater verkaufen, Kili, es heißt nicht, nur wenn der Goy geht es usen. But Meil hat gewollt mit dem masber auch der Rebens Schitte, as that's why you don't have to travel Erev Pesach, Chabad nach das. But is he one of them? Is a few oris rules back and forth of the noise. The Askumas Achroinim Lamasse, that Ketember Achroinim is nine. As I after Pekenach with a Stoivlan. In ich habe ein bisschen andere Pschatten alter Rebbe, in der Rebbe's Sieg, was der Rebbe schreibt, das Lavdavke, in Mamayla, as Fall, wie es ist very knapp, what me auf Stoivlan. And therefore, I heard the okay Lamasse, them okay afterwards regime, only if you might not go. But Lamasse, somebody wrote in, he found a Xaviad Rasha, which Rashi is much as jeder weiß man. As Tomer the Goy, ist durchgegangen der Goy in der Schiss, was der Goy in der Schiss ist nicht, kedai es usen, nur es zu weiter zu verkaufen, als Fall darf man nicht treffen. Nein, nicht für Mede. Jid ist durchgegangen, das ist ein ganzes, also so Meile, wie soll man umgehen mit der ganzen Schmiss? I'm sorry, so ich bin verfuhren. Okay, so now we go a step further. So the Welt aber schreibt daran, we cannot sell the Keile because you have to toivel it. Yeah, the Welt is machmer, we schreibt man daran. You sell chumash ala Keile. You sell the crumbs if there's a piece of stickel crumb zugeklebt to a pot. And the guys interessiert zu kaufen the chumash, basically let's hear, yeah. The guys mit geeft ze the chumash. So basically it's chichet lila. It's a chichet twila. The what? Chomas gekeilen?
Inside the pot.
Na, belua darf man nicht. Belua ist schon extra Sachen. Nach Zischpan, ja. Aber bei Meile, ist du ein ganzer Schmiss über die Neuße. Der Goy kauft es up, es ist gemacht ein Joke. Ich kann sagen, du hast die why in der Rabbi haben wir nicht gehalten. Also wir müssen verkaufen, der Chumash alle Keilen. Keilen, wir finished. Ich kann verkaufen den Breckler. Sei will dann, also ja, der Goy kauft a package deal. Since he buys the whole, I weiß doch, when you buy a whole deal, a whole factory, a whole company, you buy everything. So, going back to your Shala, would he buy the garbage? You know?
If he was only selling garbage,
nobody. If you only sell the garbage there, nobody's gonna buy it. But you package deal. Okay, gets a good deal. Okay, I'll take with the gas. Show with the bin with together. Okay, this is Mama I misget. Okay, noch zwei davor Kleinigkeiten. Also es ist mein lang spät geworden. Medication. A few things which we want to make clear. Medication. You don't have to sell for a goy. You don't have to sell for a goy. The meaning is, as oibsat a chashash chumas, you sell it for a goy, but oibsat not a chashash kidneys, you don't sell for a goy, because kidneys itself you don't have to sell. All the beans, all the kidneys, although we don't eat kidneys, but we don't have to sell it. If you genug staat veel achoyle, hat recht meg essen kidneys. So therefore, even achoyle shaim baskuna. In my Michael, when it comes to kidneys, they got medication. So you don't have to sell kidneys. And avada nicht aros warfen. The same will also be what?
How can you tell if it's kidneys if it's not regular medication?
Being what?
Not medication.
Is the rest you go to the list. The milig is people which you don't need medications. You sell the whole medication. But again, kedai zu wissen, as people who need to take medication should take medication. You should ask a kabur marov. There are medications which haben sich in chumas, but if you need to take it, ask a beforehand, because not necessarily if you have a medication for your heart and it's a skun, if you're not going to do it, you should eat it, because du genick zerifam, the medication itself. Es wird butel. Achshevai, if you don't have a good, you can get the taste. Achshevai. You want it because actually you want it for your health. But the medication, the medicine itself, most of the time is the basis. Most of the time is the pill, the basis of chumas. In today's day, most of them are kidneys. So again, when a person needs to take medication, which is people who have heart conditions, diabetics, all these things, the people who have nerve medications, you can't play around. Frage ruf far Pesach. What do you need to do? And zanish kan poisig when it comes to the union. When it comes to kidneys, for sure you don't have to sell it. If you need to take it, it is much easier. Again, deze is een frage ruf. But a very important thing which I want to do is because people take all their salt, which is opened, and all that sugar, and the cocoa, and you say, because you use that sugar, you weren't careful. Again, all those things you sell it, so all those things, you just lock it up for when it comes to cleaning detergents, all detergents could be used. You don't have to have even an OUP. All the detergents, yes. All the laundry detergents, or even dishwasher detergents. Okay, but laundry or floor cleaning, all those things, when it comes to soap, it could be maybe down the road, Chalamoid or whatever. We'll give a share on this. When it comes to soap, is me'iker hadin, according to most from the poiskim, what man can't use, after it's hot chumatz. Since do am yesh mukem lahachmer, not to use a ganze Schale sicher gestier, because you use it and you wash yourselves. So therefore, in weiß man so noch sicher gestier, Schales dus geht ran gehen für sich gestier, ist nur lahavra lichlich. This is a whole beautiful nice siege which I wrote once, and again, maybe we'll get to it. Is azoi. Bi ikaron, but man is gedacht noch kicken the lists alle Sachen. You could use all this dove with all the Sachen. Most of them haben gekommen, aber kapunem. Even if you know it has chumatz, yesh mukem lahachmer if you have Pesach soap. Again, it's nicht Medina. But if somebody is doing it, I know minham miyam. But the master today's day, a groß heilig from the world is Michael, shampoos, with all these things you use, even if you weiß out in them chumatz. Again.
Same with deodorant.
Oh,
deodorant is very common.
Deodorant, and you know what else is common? Perfume. Perfume is very common. In dort is miyom machmer nicht zu use on Pesach, and the reason is because. Huh?
No.
What?
No.
Nicht because no. Because although perfume they have alcohol. The shal is no. It's going. Ein Rolle Achilles Kelef. Jetzt du eine von der litwische Yeshivas, was erzählt, als gesagt, als gesehen in Russland. Ich meine, in Sibir, ich habe Abramski, ich weiß nicht, who it was. So gegen in Russland. Wo es Gat kann Wodka, hat genommen dem in der Sachen ausgetrinkt. So it's only not only because of this. It's a guy the water. There's a big tax on alcohol. So therefore, if it's rule achila, there's a big tax. If it's not ein rule achila, then it's guys schon an gehen von Maschke. Es geht ran andere gehen, it's a lower tax. Tariffs, yeah, from Canada and from Mexico. So therefore, what do? They put in, as was his poigam, is a shoynishkan alcohol, but it's very easy for them, once it comes to America, so I can in no time divide with chemicals, whatever, how it is, and my level is dann, as Belekitchil is nicht geworden, nifsel lachiris kelef. Das heißt, nifsel lachiris kelef, ich habe genommen etwas ausgemischt, was ich kann es herausnehmen, das heißt, nicht lachiris kelef. So du in der Welt ja machen, der Welt verzählt a joke, it's nicht a joke, it's a mass, es steht, sie werden mach Leute fahren Krieg, aber soap, if it's nifsel lachiris kelef oder nicht, because if it's kelef, kann man es usen, aber es nicht. So one of the literature Gdeli said, as by insin in Brisk, ich meine die Studie in Brisk, habe ich gesehen allein wie ein Hint esst Soap. Als ich von andere Gudel bis auch der literature, the Briske Hint essen Seif. Der andere ist kein Briske Hint.
Dishwashing soap for plates and stuff.
Nicht was ich sage, ist menig auch ist es Ruhe Achille, der ist Ruhe Achille. Andere will dann, dass ja Ruhe Achille ist food grade. So, dort ist du, yes, mukem lahachma. Aber, wenn so, yes, mukem lahachma, as es sagen. A kapunem, just to sum it up. The toothpaste has to have, in the toothpaste darf der ganze Jahr, darf seine Hechscher. Aber ich habe es morgen zu sagen, du, aber also, ich habe das aber geht für Abelski. A toothpaste is alles an Ruhe Achille, es ist du, ist in halt das darf Hechscher.
Some of these moisturizers.
Kannst using any Hechscher, aber darf sein Hechscher. What?
Moisturizers have like oats in them.
Du gehst mit einer der Schales gewollt sagen, that sie geht dran der geht, sie stier, sicher gestier. If putting your body, is it like drinking, which is a whole Sige. Es ist nur der Schöne halten yes, oder Schöne halten nicht. Es ist ein ganzes Machleukes. Again, this is a nice Sige, which maybe one day will delve in.
So, in other words, he said you could use it, but if you want to be machmer, it's good to be.
But if you're going to
erst muck im Lach. Ja, exactly.
put it on your hands, they're going to touch food.
Oh, du hast dich schon Sachen with hands, aber if you wash it good, you put it on your body, and then you wash it up. So, well, this is a nice chimera to be machmar for so Sache. Was meine ich zu sagen? The computer has to be cleaned. The keyboard has to be cleaned, weil dort ist, weißt du, alle arbeiten den ganzen Tag in the office, they eat over there. Benoiser dacht man the content from the computer. Aber das lasse ich schon. Das lasse ich schon. Ja. Das lasse ich schon für andere. Aber kaputt pushen, brekkelig. The cell phones has to be cleaned. Phones bechlal has to be cleaned. Weil weißt du, der Nuschel zu tun ist, man esst, man trinkt, man hat auf der Telefon, es ist kein Sahn, da darf man das cleanen. Huh?
Clean like what? Clean how?
Nein, umcleanen. Das ist schon in a Kaschentop, no. Okay, noch 1 oder 2 Luches. Als man kann sich verlassen auf der Nuschel zu tun ist und auf Kinder, was man gemacht, du hast übergehen kicken, der Nuschel darf man nicht übergehen, aber your wife could rely even on the goite, but she could die to make sure that sometimes they clean, for cleaning, not for Pesach, so go over. But if you have children which make Pesach, we can sich verlassen auf sie. You don't have to, so there are parents which are so, we can sich verlassen auf die Kinder, in a room which you made Pesach dik, a room in you made Pesach dik, is after pecan, it's done, and even if you found afterwards a piece of hummus, doesn't mean that you have to take the whole room and clean again. You don't need. Le'imma zeh is aber kedai, where you make a room hummus, it's kosher Pesach, way before Pesach, you still have the whole house still Pesach dik, even you have the bedrooms over there, is kedai noch einmal, like I put him, like the men of us machen die hummus, noch einmal über zu kicken, because over there people eat still the hummus. If you have children, es gedei zu machen, gibt über die Hummus. Aber a Platz, wie du hast kleine Kinder, you don't have to, once you made it, you don't have to be choish. I heard once, you have to be choish that maybe you had breakfast on the floor, and you went on your shoes, and you're going into the room, which is basically, you don't have to be Pesach OCD. Pesach is not gemacht, as Beizem, with the Svardische Welt, there's almost no thing as cleaning. It's came Pesach by Nacht, Lail B'dikis Chumatz, the man takes runter those, and he goes through the whole house and checks, and the macht a thorl, and the case closed, So, man darf schon mal zu dir. But al Kapuram, bechol oifen, man darf gedenken, als Amashi Chumatz, wie steht von der Rizal, als Tamer ist nicht so Amashi Chumatz, is biftig loi, shiere loi, chet. Some people say Amashi Chumatz means to eat Amashi Chumatz. Some people will say even Amashi Chumatz, Mechsaluzi will have which the Welt has schon genommen. Amashi Chumatz in the house, which is... Aber Akapunam, Amashi Chumatz is again, just to sum up, whenever it comes to thing which has to do with the food, you should make a thorough cleaning. Whatever it doesn't have to have, you should clean, but you don't have to make a thorough one. In ob sie bechlal nicht schmuck mich mit Chumatz, this is the dach, the lights, the armoires on top, all these far-fetched places, that man bechlal nicht machen Chumatz. Just to finish it, the Kaviyusha brings down, Aloshen, kol mishi toirich lekvad yontav, whoever a person is sich toirich lekvad yontav, a shvitz lekvad yontav, hoire kol amazikim. He kills all the mazikim, hanikruem nikra b'nai udam. So a mazikim is called nigam b'nai udam, and cleaning for Pesach with shvitz, this is goyrem to kill all the mazikim. If in the Rizal straight as the the sweat which you have for a mitzvah is a ticket for a sach in Yunam. The Rebbe Shelf is a Mazoich Zan, as Zan Nizam Amashi Chumatz begashmis, Chumatz in the heart, Chumatz wie man früher hat auch in the computer, and the Rebbe is a helfen, that we're all ma kusher and freiliche Yonte.